Hello, everybody. My name is PortuggeePrince, and this is Pitchside here. Welcome. This is the first audio version of Pitchside, as the first interviews that we've actually done were text. This is the first audio version that we will be doing, and I am here today with GoldenIPanda, the manager of Super League side Manchester City. GoldenIPanda, how are you doing today, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Living life.
All right. So let's get it going. First question I wanted to ask you is, obviously you were a player for a few seasons in PCN. What made you decide for this season that you wanted to manage the club?
I saw an opportunity to bring a lot of guys to the league that hadn't played here before, that I knew were top tier talent. And I always think that whatever league I'm part of at the moment, it's always best for me to play against the best competition and for the best competition to be in one spot. So I figured, why not try to consolidate everybody and get everybody in one spot? So I figured the easiest way to do that was just to manage and bring the dudes that I knew were good into the league and go from there. And it looked like a lot of people followed suit. It looked like there were a lot of different teams that did the same thing.
Absolutely. I mean, Super League this season, and I'm speaking from experience here with managing Wolves. Super League this season is it's a gauntlet. It's an absolute gauntlet with a lot of good teams. Panda, you've been in the pro clubs community for a while. What can you say as far as the evolution of the community from whenever you started playing to now? What can you say has improved? What can you say is different about it? What are your thoughts on it overall?
The evolution of clubs over time and the differences. I guess the biggest standout to me, I think, is that the community as a whole is much more new player friendly now than it used to be. I know that for myself in particular, it took me like 4 or 5 seasons to get into what would be considered like a Super League team or whatever in PCN. Whereas back in the day, again, 4 or 5 seasons, that's huge. Now you have guys who are willing to give a shot to a new player basically at the drop of a hat, and there isn't that barrier to entry just by way of people being unnecessarily hard on new players. I think that PCN is set up pretty well to accommodate people from all different walks of FIFA. So I don't know. I think that it's just more of a professional atmosphere, and it's not just the typical new guy has to be bad, can't be good, has to wait, has to spend 3 or 4 seasons hating what he's doing in order to have fun and being on a good team. So I think that ultimately it's just more professional and it's just more new player friendly.
All right. So Panda, I think you knew I was going to ask this question. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. So you're fairly a polarizing figure in the league, as far as being in the Discord, in the general discussion, talking with people. It seems like there's a lot of disagreements between you and teams and players, from all across the league, whether it's League 2, League 1, Super League, what have you. So what's the issue, if you want to elaborate on it, between Manchester City, or more specifically yourself, and Super League side Los Angeles Galaxy?
So I don't know anybody on LA Galaxy personally by any means. So there's obviously they're probably all really good guys and they're probably all really good people or whatever in real life and not, I don't have any kind of a personal vendetta against them. But in terms of FIFA, I come from the ideology that the game, if you are to make it something that a consumer would like to take part in, somebody watching on Twitch, in order to make it a product, it should be entertaining. It should be something where there's a skill to it. It's fun. It's engaging. You see a lot of different things on display. And for that very reason, I don't think that these teams that park the bus and sell their souls and play this classless style that requires no skill, and you're going to play the same way on day 100 playing that way as you would on day 1 because there's no way to improve at it. It's just an easy way to play FIFA. I think that it's lazy. I think that it's fool's gold because I think that people wind up trapping themselves into the thought that that's somehow going to pay out at the end of the road, and it's not. I think that it'd be smarter for teams to finish, 13, 14, 15, 16th while trying to play what they think is the proper way to play a few seasons, and then eventually get good enough at the game where you're, one of the more highly respected teams, such as Young Boys. Like, they didn't always start out the best. It took time for them to get to where they are and the kind of, chemistry that they have playing the style that they do. It's not like they started off playing a 4-2-3-1 park the bus and they grew into what they are. They started on day one trying to play pretty soccer, and it wound up being the style that dominates everybody, FIFA in and FIFA out, because that's just the way to win, and it always will be. And LA Galaxy is the exact polar opposite of that, and I think that it's hideous. They're, again, want to stress, great guys, probably really good guys over there, but just nothing they do is impressive. They're not entertaining to watch. They're not entertaining to play against. There's nothing to come out of a game against them and go, oh wow, they really took it to us that game. Like, really, it's just 11 players sitting in front of the net and hoping that they don't get a goal scored on them. And I just don't see the point in it. They're never going to win a title that way, but they're also never going to get relegated. And I guess if that's your ultimate goal, which is boring, then I'll have at it. I guess you're fine then. But that's my personal or FIFA related issue with them.
All right. I mean, I'll be honest. As far as LA Galaxy, I got a few buddies of mine. Shout out Cafetero, who's there, and a few others. But hey, that's why you're here, Panda. So another question I wanted to ask you is, of course, like we talked about, Super League this season is extremely competitive between teams like Orlando, Young Boys, Atlanta, Chelsea, Real Madrid. You have all these teams that are very, very good. Valencia being another one. Galaxy, who was in top 6 for a bit as well, that we just talked about. What are your predictions at the end of the season as far as the top 6 that are going to be in the Super Cup, as well as who are you going to predict as the 3 teams that will be relegated from Super League?
Oh wow, that's Ooh, this is a good one. This gives me a lot of opportunities here, man. I could answer this 1,000 different ways. I'll go with the honest answer though. So if I were to think objectively, and if you were to force me to put like 1,000 of my own dollars on who were to win the league, I would say Young Boys. They are, they are FIFA in and FIFA out, the best team in whatever league it is that they play in. They were before they came here, they were known as Viva and FIFA-holics, and they're kind of like a conglomeration of those two teams who are always number 1 and number 2 in ACL before they came over to PCN. They left to go to a completely different console and played on PlayStation and won that league, and then came back here. So it's just hard for me to ever vote against them, as much as there's some guys on that team that I don't necessarily get along with, but they're great. So if I were to pick a league winner, it'd be Young Boys. If I were to pick a top 6, it'll probably be Young Boys, Orlando, Manchester City, Benfica, and I think that not because I think I'm at 5 right now. I think that not because they're a great team, but just because they happen to do well early, which shocks me because I actually think that they're like a 15th place level team. Like, they're just not that good, but they just happen to start hot, is Atlanta. I think they're one of those teams where you're going to see that hot start benefit them, at the very last week of the season, because it's just like you played with all that confidence early on. You didn't drop that many points. It's kind of hard for you to fall that far out of grace. So it's the same thing with Inter last season, right? They started out super hot. They had all these players and they fall off and they show who they really are or whatever. Now they're going to be relegated. Like, Atlanta's that kind of team. I don't think they're going to get relegated, but they probably belong closer to like 15, 16 than 3rd place. So that's my top 6. That's my Super League winner. And I can't really remember if you had any other parts of that question, but I think that was it.
So the second part would be who are the 3 relegation candidates that you believe will be relegated?
Oh, yes. No, this gives me a great opportunity. Yes. So the 3, I forgot about that. The 3 relegation teams. So shockingly enough, I actually think Tottenham's turned a point. I think that so the conversation that we had earlier on in this interview about play styles benefiting you and prospering from trying to play the right way, even if it doesn't work at first, is working in their favor already. They're already seeing the fruits of their labor. At the start of the season, and even the preseason, they would catch so many L's in friendlies. I think we beat them like 9-1 in one friendly or something like that. And they were playing like a 4-2-3-1, playing super ugly, couldn't make a few passes in a row, just not pretty to watch, really struggling. But they eventually got good at it, at playing like to feet and such, and they switched to a 3-5-2, I believe, which is the meta formation if you want to possess the ball. And now they're actually like getting their fair share of possessions, and they're doing well in games. So Tottenham's not going to be in my bottom 3. I think if I were to pick a bottom 3, I'd pick Inter Milan, I'd pick Lyon, and I would pick Juventus. I think those are the three worst teams that I've seen. I think Lyon benefited greatly from their connection last season, and their average guys from the British League that came here and benefited because of delay and because they no longer had that host advantage, they're not going to see the same level of success that they used to. It's the same reason why you saw guys last season like Bailey Ince and a couple of other guys who had, or I think Barney Two Goose is another one. They're like top 5 in goals scored, and now they've got like 2 goals scored throughout. I mean, it's just evident that they don't belong in the league as a team. Individually, the British guys can be great, but as a team, you can't have 11 guys all playing on delay that are not that great to begin with. So if I were to guess, I would say Lyon, Inter, and Juventus. And again, shout out to Inter. I think they talked that mess last season, talking about how they belonged to the top where they were, but I think they're showing their true colors.
All right. So in any interview that I've done, whether it's text, whether it's audio, I've always asked this question. As far as Pro Clubs Nation is concerned, what is it about the league that you like about it, and what is something that you could suggest that would make the league better?
So I think I like the passion about this league, and I think I like the respect level for it the most, truthfully. I think that top to bottom, the guys that do the stuff behind the scenes, Ricky, Exile, Dorsey, heck, even Will, who's sitting in on this call, and all the other admins that work on stuff behind the scenes, I think they really do care, and I think that speaks volumes to the way the league is ran. And in the previous leagues that I've been a part of, be it EGN, ACL, AVL, LG, there's always been that subtle bashing of the league throughout, like even throughout management, not really being appreciative of it and just not kind of having the passion that's necessary to run it. So I think that the management and the people that do the behind the scenes stuff for PCN are fantastic, and they have the ship setting in the right direction. So I think that's the most positive thing about PCN is just the people that run it. As for what can improve about PCN, I think that the scheduling has to change. I think that if you're an L2 team, which I'm sure that I don't pay attention to them because I wouldn't, because most, like 85% of them are not good and just don't deserve the attention. But there are probably 1 or 2 teams there that would fare very well in Super League and probably have a chance to win it if they got a hot enough start. Certainly, they would belong here more so than teams like Inter and Lyon and Juventus and teams that literally have no business in being here. And it's a really hard ask of teams who are just starting up to spend, what is it, if you're in League 2 and you've got to play 2 full seasons and win both of them in order to get straight to Super League. It's hard to ask somebody to play for like 8 months, which is almost the entirety of a FIFA, just to potentially get to play at the highest level. I think that's too big of an ask for teams, and I think that it turns a lot of people away, and teams wind up crumbling because of it. So I think if these leagues were condensed a little bit and they were a little bit shorter, so say you had 1 more game per night, or if you had 1 more night of games per week, I think that would benefit it greatly because you would allow for more teams to come in and immediately prosper from their hard work instead of having to wait almost an entire real life calendar year. And I think that would be better for everybody too. I think that if you're somebody who, gets stuck in mid-table in Super League, you'll get back at it quicker again. You don't have to just sit there and hate every second that you're on FIFA for however long because you have no chance of making top 6, but you also know you have no chance of getting relegated. So there's really no point in playing. I just think it would be better for that aspect of it. So for me, condensing the league, making it a little bit shorter, that's my number 1 critique.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up here in a little bit. Another thing that I tend to do on these interviews is give the interviewee the floor. So as the ending part of the interview, as the closing of the interview, this is your chance now, Panda, if you want to shout anyone out, if you want to call somebody out, if you want to say anything that you'd like, so long as it's decent, we'll say.
Yeah, we'll keep it PG.
Right. Let's keep it as clean as we possibly can here. But yeah, the floor is yours, Panda. Anything you want? Now's the time.
Oh man, I've really got a chance here, don't I? What do I want to do with this? Man, I wish I had known this was coming. I would have had a better solution or answer here.
It's not rocket science, Panda. You can do it. I believe in you.
I guess that I would just say, as somebody who has really not played striker very often at the highest level in the top leagues or whatever, and to come in here and really only play FIFA on game days, at game times, and not practice. I don't play any Ultimate Team anymore. I don't play any seasons. I don't get on FIFA for any other reason than that I'm playing Pro Gloves on that night. Even though I love FIFA, I just don't get on it. For me to put in that little effort, and to be the league's leading goal scorer, I'm in my inaugural season as management on a brand new team in the hardest league in the hardest division in the entire league. Boy, you strikers have got some work to do. I cannot believe that I'm still a Golden Boot winner. I even took a game off and I'm still Golden Boot winner right now. I mean, my goodness, if I wind up doing this thing and I wind up winning it all, y'all should be ashamed. Again, I'll reiterate, I posted this in the Discord the other day. I think that they should all take a look at themselves in the mirror. And all these teams that are in Super League should take a look at themselves in the mirror. There are a lot of teams that can't score goals, and it's because I got some doo-doo strikers. So that's what I'm going to leave it with. You strikers need to take a look in the mirror.
I'm going to be honest with you here, Panda. I don't know why you're so polarizing. I can't put...
I don't know either, man. It's a mystery to me. Am I allowed to swear on this, by the way, in the future?
Well, I mean, this might be your one and only time doing this, but preferably no.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I cut the PG.
Panda, thank you so much for the time, bud. It was fun. Always
Thank
is.
you.
And everybody, thank you for tuning in to Pitchside. Appreciate it, and keep an eye out for the next episode.